I do want to say up front that I had to record all this footage on my laptop, which does not play games very well, especially while I'm running recording software. So if you're watching this video and find yourself noticing that the game is choppy or it has a bad frame rate, that is not the game's fault, at least not entirely. Guns Undarkness is the latest title in the rapidly growing pool of video games that I can only describe as Megami Tensei adjacent. Titles that are developed, written, or otherwise worked on by people who are well known for their work with Megaten, but the game itself is disconnected from the franchise and typically not even an Atlus title. Games like Monster Kingdom Jewel Summoner from Koji Okada, The Caligula Effect from Tadashi Satomi, and Monarch from Kazunari Suzuki. But Guns Undarkness comes to us from Shoji Meguro, who is probably best known for his music work in the Megami Tensei franchise. Meguro started working for Atlus in 1995 on the original Persona, where he gave us the now iconic Aria of the Soul, among other tracks. He's gone on to do music for other Persona games, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Digital Devil Saga, and even when he's not the lead composer on a game, he's often involved as a sound director or some sort of producer. He also has game leading experience as he was the main director for the ports of the original Persona trilogy to the PSP. But in late 2021, Shoji Meguro announced he was leaving Atlus to form his own studio, where he could develop games after learning Unreal Engine in his free time. Don't worry, he's still going to be working with Atlus as a freelancer. I think I heard he's still going to be working on Persona 6 whenever that gets announced. And like many other creators with dreams of launching their own indie games, Meguro took to the crowdfunding world of Kickstarter. His campaign for Guns Undarkness launched on September 12, 2022, and 2,000 backers, including yours truly, ultimately surpassed the original goal of 4,200,000 yen and raised 19,247,775 yen, which helped fund some stretch goals like console versions of the title. Though, sadly, we were a couple million yen shy of getting that fishing minigame. The Kickstarter had plenty of screenshots, character bios, and background information to hopefully get people invested in the final title. And on June 12, 2023, Meguro posted an update that he'd be sending out the game's first playable demo. Well, I got my code for it, played through it a handful of times, and figured I'd let you all know what I thought and if this is a title that you should keep an eye on. Also, just know I am probably going to be making a lot of comparisons to other Megaten games when talking about Guns Undarkness. However, I also think that's fair, since the Kickstarter said that Persona was one of the main inspirations for the combat, and the very first question on the demo feedback sheet asks if we play a lot of SMT or Persona games. So to start things off, I want to say that the Guns Undarkness demo is my favorite type of demo. Instead of just being the first couple of hours of the final game or a few cherry-picked scenes to try and build hype, this is an original scenario created specifically for the demo that acts more like a side story and isn't directly connected to the main plot. In Guns Undarkness, you play as Player, a character in a specialized tag suit that makes them ideal for freelance mercenary work. Don't worry, the dialogue addresses that you will be able to name them in the final game. In fact, the dialogue talks about a lot of things we'll be able to do in the final game. For example, unlike Persona, there won't be a calendar system, but there will be a weekly system, and certain characters will be in certain places or doing certain things on specific days where we can spend time with them in a presumably social link/confidant-esque mechanic. Apart from Player, we also get to meet Will, a kind-hearted tank, Zack, a sniper who I think is supposed to be like a rival. I couldn't really make heads or tails of this particular line.
Oh, hey!
Naomi, a blue-haired android who was my personal favorite for obvious reasons, and Sophia, a young girl that can't actually fight, so you have to protect her from getting shot on one of these missions. I'm assuming that she will be playable in the final game though, because her battle portrait does show her in a tag suit. I do think most of these character designs and their base personalities in the demo are fine, but I don't think they're what's going to win anybody over. Are you still getting used to it? Still getting used to it. Well, you'll get used to it. I'm still getting used to this. Like, I don't want to harp on the dialogue too much, because not only is this an incredibly early build, it's an incredibly early build of a game that was originally written in Japanese. Meguro even said in one of the updates that the script was machine translated into English, and they're gonna work with professionals for the final game, so I'm gonna cut them some slack. Alright, but what about the gameplay? That is the main focus of this demo after all. Player and the other members of their squadron are in a rundown building on an operation for their literally faceless commander, whom I am hoping will eventually have a proper face. Basically, the demo has you alternating between the home base floor and an action floor. Usually your goal on these floors is to clear out every enemy, but there's also a rescue mission where you have to find a key and rescue Sophia. Guns Undarkness has something of an emphasis on stealth, and you'll frequently run to these glowing spots to duck into cover and look for enemies. Yeah, kinda like in Persona 5. Though, unlike Persona 5, enemies can actually see you while you're in cover, and you can't jump instantaneously between spots. In fact, sometimes you'll guide player to a spot and run straight into an enemy. You can aim your gun at an opponent in the overworld map and shoot them to initiate battle. The longer you aim at them, the more accurate your shot is, which I think adds a nice risk versus reward system, because while you're aiming, they could potentially see you, and if you miss, you're obviously gonna blow your cover. If you have all three of your party members in cover when you shoot an opponent, you can get in an extra couple of shots to do damage right off the bat, which is cool. I like that mechanic. No matter how you get into a fight, battles are turn-based, and you can choose between normal attacks, gun moves, or tag abilities. The latter two use your SP, but are standard enough. There are powerful shots, healing abilities, and moves that can raise or lower stats like attack, defense, and accuracy. Essentially, Gun Kaja or Gun Kunda, if you will. The main draw of Guns Undarkness' combat system seems to be in the cover system. While a character is taking cover, they have heightened defense, and any gun moves cost 0 SP, though you will still have to spend SP on tag moves. If you hit an enemy's weakness or get a critical hit while you're out in the open, the character will jump behind cover afterwards, provided there is some available. Though, I will confess, I've played through this demo like 3 times, and I cannot remember which guns are good or bad against what other guns. The type chart in this game really is just guns beat other guns, and some guns are strong against other guns. It's all guns. You can also choose to use your turn to specifically move behind cover instead of acting, and I think that is a really good idea. You can sacrifice your turn now in order to use a free ability next turn, whether you want to heal up or unleash a high-cost skill that can hit multiple enemies. Also, I only had this happen once, but I did actually break the cover that an enemy was hiding behind, so that's kinda cool to know that that's there. And this has nothing to do with the gameplay, but I did notice that your characters will actually duck if one of your party members needs to shoot through them. That's a pretty nice level of detail to see in a demo as early as this. Overall, I think there's a lot of potential in this combat system, and I really found myself enjoying the cover system. The same way I've enjoyed Megami Tensei games for having similar battle systems that reward smart moves, like the press turn system, Persona's One More system, or Tokyo Mirage Sessions' titular sessions. The demo ends with you taking down a boss and our commander applauding us for a job well done, and basically saying it's not our job to care about what happens to people. So, I'm predicting that maybe our private military corporation bosses with the faceless commander are not gonna be the good guys in the final game. Overall, the combat has a lot of promise. The stealth mechanics are okay, and the character designs are alright, but I do hope we get some more interesting and varied party members. Like, the enemies have one of those robot gun dog things that's carrying supplies. I want a robot dog, or at least something that mixes it up from the standard humanoid design. The setting is pretty bland, but then again, it is an abandoned building. I'm hoping the final game will take us to some more interesting locales than gross gray hallway filled with literal garbage. Meguro definitely picked up a few good habits from his time at Atlas and seeing how Megaten games work, and I think Guns Undarkness could wind up being a really fun title the more effort they put into it. I look forward to getting to spend more time with Naomi, Will, Naomi, and Naomi. Oh yeah, and I feel like this should go without saying, but the music is really good. I mean, it's Meguro, of course it's gonna be. It actually reminds me a lot of the stuff he did back on Digital Devil Saga. Like, the entire time I've been working on this video, I've just had the, victory music stuck in my head. I like it. So that's my take on the Guns Undarkness Kickstarter demo. As the name implies, I think the demo is currently only available to backers, but I have left a link to the Guns Undarkness Steam page in the description below. If you want to support the game, give it a wish list and keep an eye out for any future updates on it. Let me know in the comments what you think or what you'd like to see a game like this do in the future. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.